Go for it, Dave.
How you doing, man? Stand tall with Dave Brown and Rob, man. We're here ready to rock and roll.
Well, I wanted to get you on. I know you've had a long couple days, man. I don't know if a lot of people know, Dave went to the Republican National Convention, and obviously there's tons of emotion, tons of things that happen there. Dave, take us through it, man.
Well, it's it's quite of an experience. I mean, I first, to do Judy, close friends, Oregon. I've done a lot of stuff. Judy's traveled the world, but nothing like this. This was beyond expectations. So it was pretty amazing, Rob. It really was.
Well, talk about the Oregon delegation. First of all, how many people went? Are there people you knew, or they were just talk about the entire Oregon delegation?
I had knew or met probably half of people from all over the state. There's people that come to be delegates, alternative delegates, people that are guests. There's people that are running the show, like the people with Brent and Lori Smith. They're behind the scenes running everything, doing all the logistics. It was pretty amazing to be a delegate, though. You get to be on the floor. And then from there, it's like a basketball arena. The next tier is for alternates. Then the upper bowl is for guests. And the security is through the roof. I mean, oh my Lord, I've never seen anything like this for security. 2 days ago, on the last day, we saw Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, come in, and he passed right by Judy and I. And there were 5 big, Escalade type vehicles with all the lights, probably 35 police officers, on bicycles all around him, 10 Secret Service guys, because he was walking from one building to the next right by us. And that's just par for the course.
Well, Dave, I got to stop you there because obviously the whole story was the attempt on the former president's life, leading into the Republican Convention, and certainly the emotions, no matter what side of the aisle you stand, the emotions were very strong. Talk about how that played into the entire experience. I mean, certainly it was unifying for a lot of people who were there, right?
Yeah, I think it was really sobering and humbling. I would like to think every American would be, very sad about what happened. But according to social media, there's people out there that are, taking the opposite stance. It's very unfortunate. At the end of the conference, President Trump spoke to this directly, and he was pretty humbled by the whole thing. You could tell it was very troubling. I think everything I've been through is such a mini thing of what he goes through. But I know when people have made threats and death threats and physical threats and stuff, and they say the most terrible things about you, you're just like, who does that stuff? Who really does this stuff? Obviously, the person that tried to shoot him was a, really mentally ill young person. And that generally is the case on all these school shootings and, college shootings and stuff. So it did cast a spell. I think the biggest thing is that there was a lot of just thanking the Lord that President Trump was okay, but a lot of heartache for the young fireman, dad, husband that was killed, and the people that were wounded. So President Trump spoke to that many times.
Switching from obviously, go ahead.
No, as did a lot of the people who spoke. I mean, there's a lot of sadness for that. The other victims. It wasn't just President Trump was spared, but people lost their life and were injured.
Well, Dave, talk about. I mean, even here at home, just watching the energy in that building. The moments leading, with Kid Rock, I mean, whether you like it or not, and Hulk Hogan, and just the energy in that building, had to really make you feel good.
It did. I've been, me, I'm a coach. I've been to a lot of fantastic sporting events. I was around when the Portland Trailblazers won the NBA title in Blazer Mania. I've seen ecstatic before, but I've never seen anything like this. This was, and I'm not even saying this because I like President Trump, and I will vote for him. I think he's awesome, but in my lifetime. When I'm a big music fan, I'm a movie fan, sports fan, and when I see the reverence that people on their entire trip, Denver, Colorado, all the way across Colorado, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, and Illinois, and then of course we've been here in Wisconsin now for a week. Um, I'd honestly say Elvis Presley and the Beatles is the only two people I could uh, conjure up that would bring the energy level to where President Trump brings the energy level to. It's something you have to be sitting there to experience.
Well, Dave, Dave, we go into this convention with so many questions on the Democratic side. I mean, there's already calls for, President Biden to step down. He's, kind of dug in. So a lot of disarray. But talk about the unity of you, what you saw at the RNC. I mean, it seemed like everyone there was just, about America. I mean, obviously they all had their agendas, but what were three things that you took away from that entire experience, from an American standpoint?
It's a great question. I would really personally, I would like to hope that everybody would, stop um, the cancel culture and the awfulness of what we've been experiencing. President Trump, I think the biggest thing I took away was, um, trying to say, I don't want to be president to half the country. It's time for our country to stop being that way. Um, you know, this division isn't all one person's fault. It's not President Trump's fault. It's not Joe Biden's fault. It's just where we're at as a country. And I took away that, he wants to be represent all of us. And I really believe that. I really, really do. We've had a lot of really tough things happen in this country. And I think, bringing that country back together is one of his top priorities, to represent all of us, even though all of us won't vote for him. I will, but not everybody will. Um, but I mean, very few presidents have ever dominated like, say, Reagan did in '84, where the election was just a landslide. Usually it's 55-45, or something like that. So it's time for our country to unite around whoever wins in November. I really praying hard that it's President Trump, who I feel like can do the things we need to unite. But I think each and every one of us as an American citizen need to look in the mirror and say, what am I going to do to be an American? What am I going to do to, support this country? And I think the people that are, in that mode of tearing our country down have got to stop, and they got to stop, being, so attacking and so mean. I think that it's just time for our country to, slow the roll down on this political thing, and we have to accept the fact that not all of us are going to like who wins this race for president. And I would say honestly, Rob, you and I have become really good friends, and you're from St. Louis, I'm from Oregon, and there's one thing being at this thing, to answer maybe two parts of your question, is when you have people from every state in the union, and you have people from Guam and Puerto Rico and our different territories. We literally met people from all corners of our country, and even though they're Republican, they're at the RNC. Some states like ours in Oregon are more blue, and then some states are more red. And I think it's time for our country to step back and say, where do we want to go as a country? And I'll tell you the one thing I heard over and over and over from President Trump and people who were speaking on his behalf is that this unity in our country and just doing basic things to get us back to being a good, healthy, solid country. And I don't think there's anything more blatantly clear than the border. The stories that came out of that were horrific, and it's really happening. I think that's one big one, just that we can all have to sit back and say we got to do way better on the border.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely jump in that. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know it's late where you're at. Where are you, by the way? You're in Wisconsin?
Yeah, we're in Oconto, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Our friend Lori and Brent found an Airbnb, and they have some family relatives back here, and so we're back here. We spent the whole day. We finally got a day off, and went for walks and had coffee and chatted and visited with local people. You're going to see a bunch of videos coming your way. They'll be on Stand Tall with some great local people we've met here. This part of Wisconsin leans real heavy red, so we're in a territory where it's easy to have conversations with people. Not everybody, but so this is a beautiful place. Wisconsin's really been a great place to come to.
Well, Dave, we can't have this interview go on without me asking you, the big news that came out, Donald Trump chooses J.D. Vance as his vice presidential running mate. What's your reaction? I mean, you kind of had to warm up to him a little bit, I guess. I don't really know much about him. I'll be learning about him over the next, coming months. But what was your take?
Yeah, I was a little. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I knew about him. I think after hearing him speak and watching him, because he was just right up over my right shoulder, maybe 50 feet away, and so I got a chance to see him. And for I think one of the first conventions ever, President Trump was there every evening. He didn't speak till the last night, and J.D. Vance was there, and he spoke Wednesday, and he was on the stage on Thursday. But I like him. He's highly intelligent. He's a former Marine. He came from a really, really rough background. His book, Hillbilly
Elegy.
Yeah, he grew up extremely poor with his mom being into drugs, but she cleaned herself up. She was there. And it was super cool to see her, with her son being nominated as vice president, nominee for the United States for the Republican Party. What a life she's lived. But he grew up simple and hard and rough, and then he worked himself all the way through to Yale, and it took me a little bit, and then I really warmed up to it.
Do you feel like he's relatable?
I think he's totally relatable. I think, and he's really smart, and I think he speaks well. I think he's a good balancer to President Trump, because I think President Trump can, like, say, turn him loose on the border, and it won't be like Kamala Harris, who won't do anything. He'll go down and get the job done. And I'm being biased towards the military, but as a former Marine, he'll get the job done.
Mm-hmm. What else struck you from the trip? I mean, and maybe just give us a recap of when you left Oregon and where your travels have taken you, and how you ended up in Milwaukee.
I was going to tell you too, J.D. Vance has a great sense of humor. He could sit on our podcast with you and me, Rob, and I think he would just fit in perfect behind the scenes. He's funny, but we left on the 8th. We flew to Denver, went to the the Freedom Foundation, teachers conference in Denver, and we were there 3 days. It was fabulous. Heard some great speakers, and we got done with that, and we seen some old friends from, again, teachers all around the United States. So we got a big flavor from people all over, and great conference. We left there and drove across Colorado. We got to Hayes, Nebraska, spent a night there, and beautiful farmlands in Colorado, eastern Colorado and Nebraska, just gorgeous. We went to the University of Kansas and saw the Jayhawks, and bought a T-shirt there. Yeah, I always kind of like the Jayhawks a little bit.
Yeah, well, I'm a Missouri man. Border war with Missouri, man. Anyway, we'll move on.
Oh, I know. We went to Missouri after that and saw my niece, and we're in Republic, Missouri. Beautiful. Missouri's beautiful this time of year. And I got to tell you, Rob, when we left there to head to Iowa to see Judy's family, we stopped in Collins, Missouri, and had the best breakfast I've had in 20 years. Little tiny, just tiny old little town. And then we left out of Missouri, got through to Iowa, and spent parts of 3 days there with Judy's relatives. Between Colorado, Nebraska, Missouri, and Iowa, I've never seen so much corn in my entire life. Oh my goodness sakes! I mean, we're talking millions of acres, just unbelievable. Iowa is a blast. I got to shoot an 1878 5 in the tube shotgun on a farm out there. Oh, it was perfectly balanced. People in Iowa are just Southern Iowa, down to earth. Judy knew everywhere we're going. I was teasing her though because we went to a lot of cemeteries, and I was teasing her relatives. There's a lot of dead people in Iowa. They keep their cemeteries up like a golf course. So we totally enjoyed our small town, visits there, and then we were off to drive up through Iowa, and then we got to Illinois, and Illinois was pretty. We were about 100 miles out of Chicago, and then we started heading north towards Milwaukee, and Lake Geneva is where our Oregon delegation stayed. And by the way, the people of Milwaukee, the people of Wisconsin, I know they got to be nice to us because we're a big delegation, but I'll tell you what, everywhere we've been, every restaurant, every store, every step of the way, the people have been people you'd want to be neighbors with. I think Oregon could take a good lesson from the people of Wisconsin, by the way. And, of course, we weren't in the middle of maybe a strong Democratic area where stuff, but I just get the sense that they're a little more mature back here right now with their civility would be maybe a word to use.
Sure. Well, that's a great point because you go to Milwaukee, you feel safe. Everything seems to be going okay. Well, you go to Portland, the whole place looks like Apocalypse Now. San Francisco, Seattle, St. Louis is a city that's falling apart. I mean, how are we going to save our cities? I mean, are people talking about that at the Republican National Convention? Because, man, that is something that really rips at everyone.
Portland's reputation nationwide, and I talked to people from just about every state, and it was 5 days solid of people, talk, and Portland's reputation is very poor, all across the country. People just, and we would say we don't live in Portland. We live in Newberg, Oregon. We're in a nice small town, and we've had our issues too. We can do a lot better in Newberg, Oregon for sure. But Judy and I love it there, and stuff. But Oregon's overall reputation is pretty weak to a lot of people. The West Coast, the left coast. I think it comes down to our leadership. I think Kate Brown and Tina Kotek and Gavin Newsom and whoever's up in Washington.
Jay Inslee, I think it is.
Yeah, we got to make better decisions. I mean, we just have to start making good, solid support our police. We need to take care of the people that have mental health and homeless. We need to help them, not just put Band-Aids on it. We got to quit taxing everybody so much. We need to make government smaller. I sound like a Republican, I know, but some of this stuff's just common sense. And I think that's, I've told you, Rob, over and over and over, that even though I'm pretty conservative, I'd rather have the words come out that, where's that moderate middle part where we can bring Republicans and Democrats, closer together and have a discussion and make good decisions that people can really live with. And John F. Kennedy would have been a moderate Republican in today's, world, or in their world. So I think that we have to get back into that 40-60 mode, 45-55 mode.
I'll tell you, the RNC was actually historic in one regard, Dave. It was the first time in the history that some of the worst white people dancing has ever been recorded on videotape. My goodness, they would show some people you like, oh no, just don't. But
were you talking about me, right? You're talking about me.
We look for you, Dave, because we know you would have been cutting the rug. But boy, they showed some terrible dancers. Oh, some people who shouldn't. Obviously, they're in the moment. I need to give them a break. But whoa, boy, it was brutal, my friend.
I'm after being working in high schools for 20 years, and you've seen how high schoolers act. This is hilarious because you're there with adults, and you got media from all over the world, not just the United States. And you've got every state and territory represented. I saw every single famous, kind of person you can imagine there, from entertainment world to sports to country music to, rock and roll. But then you see all the politicians. It's just one after another. I mean, I stood I had breakfast right next to Sarah Huckabee, and she is as classy as a young lady as I can ever. I would be honored to call her my daughter, like Mike Huckabee gets to do. She is really cool. And I did get a video right next to her. We heard Vivek Ramaswamy. I really like him a lot. He He's probably the most eloquent speaker I've ever heard. He is, and he doesn't ever look at notes. Right next to Tucker Carlson, right next to oh gosh, the Speaker of the House, Mike.
Tim Johnson, Mike Johnson, Mike Johnson.
Well, Mike Johnson. I was right next to him, but I was also next to Kevin McCarthy.
Yeah, Kevin McCarthy.
You know who's really tall? I'm 6'2", but we're right next to Charlie Kirk. He's like 6'5". He's like 6'5", Rob. I mean, I was like, what? But
the giant, huh?
He is very tall. The other thing is when you're walking through the whole building like you would at a basketball game, you're seeing people dressed up in crazy outfits. I wish we would have been a little bit more aware of that going in. We didn't know. But different states. Texas is the best. I got to give the kudos.
Cowboy hats.
They got the cowboy hats. They got the blue blazers. They got the jeans. They got the boots. And man, they're strutting it hard. They were the best dressed by far. Not even close. But Guam was, at Hawaii. They're very native in their stuff. So that was cool.
We need to put you guys in some Bigfoot costumes or something.
I think that I got to give the whole thing a 10. As hard as it was to get on a bus every day for an hour and 15 minutes, and as hard as it was to get back at 12:30, 1 o'clock at night to where we're staying, and I'm not a big bus rider after 25 years coaching high school sports. I'm not into buses anymore, but these were the luxury buses. But even with not getting to eat really regular food the whole week, and I'm picky just a little, I give it a 10. I'd actually give it a 15. I thought it was fabulous. And one thing I wanted to make sure everybody gets on this is like, I get the whole, we hear all this stuff on media, and we're not happy with the media, and they don't put the truth, and they have a slant and all that stuff. But that all aside, when you're in person and you're listening to people's talking and their testimonies, President Trump gets exactly what I told you I got from Mike Lindell. The same thing. It was almost verbatim. I love the guy. He's always treated me with nothing but respect. He cares deeply. He wanted to go to the funeral of the gentleman who was killed at his rally, and the Secret Service said no. Where they were having it, there was just no way they could secure it. And the testimonies that came out about how he's treated people in his businesses and he promotes women at a higher rate than the average in any of the business. He stands for the American people, and whether or not you like him because he's rich or you think all this stuff, I think the media really needs to step back and say, hey, this guy's a pretty good guy. He likes people. He is rich. He is New York. He is brash. But he truly cares about people in general, just like Mike Lindell told me in person. But I would say that he loves the United States of America deeply. And I think the only way you could, not like that is if you don't want the United States to be a great country again. And, and so, like the whole MAGA thing, it's so frustrating because make America great again. I mean, what's the alternative? I mean, because Donald Trump coined that, they hate it. And, but the people in that room are not deplorables, according to Hillary Clinton. The people there love this country, and they are fighting hard for Donald Trump and J.D. Vance to be their nominees. But Donald Trump truly loves his family. He truly loves this country deeply. He never needed to get into politics. He has, one of the richest people in the United States. He had everything. And the other thing is every one of his family members, one of my favorite parts is when his granddaughter got up to speak, and she's 17, 18 years old. And she was just talking about her grandpa. She's not talking about the president, former president, the rich guy. She was saying, that's my grandpa. And it was totally genuine. She wasn't reading off a script. She was just talking about her grandpa. And then you'd look up at him, and he's got some of his, not every night, but there'd be his grandkids sitting there on his lap at the RNC convention. I mean, these kids, it's truly a family that's, even though they've been through their stuff and, it's a split family. Um, he's truly loves his family, and his family members love him. And I'm through a split family too, and I get it. It's tough. And at the very end, Melania came, last night, and she I just think she's a classy person. I think I just kind of reminded of Jackie Kennedy, in that kind of classy range. A beautiful woman who's probably a lot more beautiful on the inside than she is on the outside. Um, so I just want everybody to know that I'm a pretty good judge of people. I've talked about this. It's how I've coached, and I think he loves his country. And JD Vance, man, I'll tell you what, he's committed to Donald Trump, and he's committed to this country, and he's committed to fight. He's an independent source. I mean, I don't think he's going to have a problem with sitting back and disagreeing with Donald Trump on something, and I think he will be a really great running mate. I mean, there are others that could have been picked. I mean, I kind of thought it might be Tim Scott. Chelsea, was it Chelsea Gabbard?
Yeah.
I thought she was good.
I can't think of who I know. There's another one. I can't think of who. Nikki Haley. At one point, they were talking possibly.
Possibly, I think he had a lot of options, and I think he picked the best one. I think,
Well, I was just gonna say, just to kind of wrap things up. I know it's late where you're at, and I know you got another full day driving tomorrow. So, give us, what do you know today that you didn't know when you left on July 8th? Like, what makes you excited today that you weren't necessarily excited about on July 8th?
I think I'm excited that, of course, when you're in a kind of a controlled environment with Republicans, obviously you're around a lot of people are thinking, similar thoughts. It's safe. I mean, but when you see that many people representing that many people, we were right behind the Indiana people. And I'll tell you what, and the Guam people, they're there for all the right reasons. They love this country deeply. And I think that is something super special that I got. And I really do believe that as we drove across the United States, Rob, and we got a lot more to go, we saw Trump flags everywhere. We saw bales of hay decorated up in fields. We saw semis decorated. We saw stickers. We saw people wearing hats everywhere. We went big cities, small cities, didn't matter. People are wearing T-shirts. People are really, I think, wanting to step up because they know our country needs a strong leader right now, and we haven't had that. And I don't think, I don't know what to think of the whole Joe Biden. He's been a very weak president, and I think he's an older man with a lot of health issues, and so I don't think he should be pushed into this thing. But he's the president, and he'll have to make that decision. I hope his wife Jill will help him make a decision that's good for the Biden family. But I don't think it'll be Joe Biden in November. He's getting a lot of pressure to back out, and what worries me is, and I'll say this on air, I think, the mention of Hillary Clinton, just, my goodness sakes, I think she's a very dishonest person. I think if you look at some of the other candidates they could throw out there, Gavin Newsom I don't think Gavin Newsom could run a small Dairy Queen, let alone the state of California, let alone the state of the United States. So, I mean, it's like Oregon. We see what happened to Portland with poor leadership. We need strong leaders that are going to come in and just make good, sound decisions. Going back to the border, just you close the border. I just met with a guy today, Rob, and I think you'll see the video coming up. Jose Ramos from this town. He owns his own business. He came from Puerto Rico, came to New Jersey, came to Wisconsin. And I'll tell you what, he goes, I'm living the American dream because of Donald Trump. He came here at that particular time, and he wants to see it go back to that. He wants to see us go back to good, strong policies that support businesses, not hurt them. And Wisconsin's kind of like Oregon. It's kind of like about 50-50. It can kind of swing red, blue. But I think the people of this country are really looking forward to having a country again that we're moving forward. And it's going to be tough. Even if Trump gets elected, you and I have talked about this too. There's a lot of people who don't like him. We walked by a sign today in this town, and it said, Trump, but anybody but Trump. And that's how those people feel. And so I guess my last thing I would part with you tonight is something I've told you that I learned through coaching years ago. If somebody feels the way they feel, that's how they feel. And I shouldn't be trying to talk them out of how they feel. We can have a debate, and then we just move on, and we're still friends. And I know in Oregon that's not the case, and we've got to get back to that in the United States of America. We've got to stop attacking people for how they feel. And we have some really tough issues to deal with. But on the border, I've talked to a lot of people that came from Mexico this last week and a half, and they want to see our border secured. They came here the right way, and they want other people to come here the right way. And when I say, President Trump's going to close the border, he's going to close it, but fix the situation. So when we have people come here, he supports illegal immigration. He supports people coming here for all the right reasons. And so he's not a tyrant, and he wants to clean up the drugs that are killing. We heard some stories that just want to make you cry your eyes out over parents, literally parents, talking about their kids dying of fentanyl. Those are sad, sad, sad stories. I've spoke at 6 funerals of kids I've coached. I'm sorry, spoke at 4 of the 6, and devastating, devastates their families, the entire family, the people around them. And we're talking like we're at 140,000, last year and a half with fentanyl killings around the country, and it's just devastating. We heard from the Gold Star families that were, coming out of Afghanistan, Rob, and my heart was just wrenched. I teared up because, President Biden's never reached out to them. And they sat there and they had the pictures of their kids. They had the videos of their kids, and they were from, they're brown, black, and white in different, states. And the parents are, you can just feel the pain coming off them. They were 60 feet in front of me. And I've seen the parents of their kids have died of drugs or car wrecks or cancer on my teams. And when you're in the same room with somebody like that, the devastation to them, the hurt is so immense. So just for that one reason, just the fentanyl coming in, I believe that that's the reason we need to have a bigger, stronger border. And I think of the two, Trump or Biden, like right now, I think President Trump's the one that will get it done, and President Biden's proven he can't.
Well, remains to be seen. Again, like I said,
Hey, I got a question for you though.
Yeah. What do you got?
Everybody, Rob and I are sports guys, so everybody I met in Milwaukee and Wisconsin, you know what my question to them was?
They don't like the Cardinals.
Oh, they hate the Cardinals. I mean, that's a duh. Come on, dude.
Yeah, 82 World Series, buddy.
They hate the Cardinals here.
Yeah.
Hate them. I mean, whoa. But no, my question to them was, Rob's a Cardinals fan, everybody. I'm a Reds fan, which, that doesn't get a lot of love either here.
Yeah.
The question was, who's your favorite Milwaukee Buck? So who would you be your favorite Milwaukee Buck of all time? I probably asked this 100 times.
I mean, I like Giannis, but I don't really know too many. I have to really think about it. Is it Dan? Wait, hold on a second. I'd have to think about that. That's a good question, Dave. I don't say I subscribe to the fan club for the Milwaukee Bucks.
They've had some great teams. Giannis is a stud, and he's a great young man. But you got to remember a guy that was a decent college player, decent NBA player named Lou Alcindor.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, of course. Green played for the Bucks. Yep, that's right. Yep.
And then,
do you remember that? Yep.
One young man at an event we went to for Riley Gaines, we were there and we were in this restaurant bar, and I asked one of the bartenders, he's probably 30, young guy. Mm-hmm. He looked dead at me. He goes, "Oh, Oscar Robertson." And I'm like, "What?" I mean, I said, "How old are you?" And he didn't really say, but he's about 30. Oscar Robertson. I said, "Dude," I shook his hand. I said, "That's awesome that you would even know who that is." Because, for those on the show, he played from like 1960 to 1974, about the same time Jerry West played. And Oscar was a stud. And he played for the Bucks for about, I don't know, 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, that's like,
they won a title.
Like asking, like, who is the most famous Atlanta Hawk of all time? Well, of course, that's, Hakeem.
Who?
Well, wait. Who? Wait.
The greatest
famous famous Atlanta Hawk of all time. I said Hakeem. Hakeem didn't play for. He played for the Rockets, right?
Yeah, I think if you went with the Hawks, I mean Pete Maravich played for them, sort of, but I'd say you have to give it to Dominique Wilkins.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Yep.
I mean, I'm thinking
we should do that on the show. Name the iconic player from every franchise in all the sports.
Let me do that right now.
No, I'm saying sometime we gotta give some thought to it. I have to really think it through, but I'd like to be able to
Throw
write
me
it down
5 teams, any sport, and I'll tell you. Throw me 5 teams, any sport. Just
5
tell me.
teams, any sport.
Any
Oh,
sport, go.
okay. Let's talk about the Miami Heat. Pretty new franchise.
I mean, honestly, you'd probably have to go LeBron because he won a title down there. But Alonzo Mourning would be next. Ray Allen. What's your next one?
Okay, let's go with the Atlanta Falcons.
Ooh, golly. Boy, that's a random way to pull that one out. Dude, if you're asking me, if I'm picking one guy, I think he was super talented. And it's unfortunate he had some off the field stuff. Michael Vick.
Michael Vick. Okay.
Michael Vick.
Okay. So my next team would be the New York Giants of the NFL.
Oh, baby.
Y.A. Tittle. You going Y.A. Tittle?
Oh, look at you! Look at you! That's a pretty good call. I'll lean in with you on White Tittle. I think that's you gotta give those old guys the credit. A couple of guys that would be have to give some love to would be Lawrence Taylor on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Michael Strahan was pretty good.
Okay.
But I'd say Lawrence Taylor, White Tittle would be a good 1-2 punch. Come on, keep her going. Let's go.
Got 2 more. Okay, Seattle Mariners.
Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah, that's easy.
I mean,
that's
come
easy.
on.
But let's go with the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Oh, dude. No, that's random. I don't know. You got any suggestions on that one? Arizona Diamondbacks.
Randy Johnson, buddy.
Who?
Randy Johnson.
Totally. You're totally right. Let's finish with a better one than that. Come on.
Okay, so I'll give you the Green Bay Packers since you're in Wisconsin.
You know how many people I tell everybody I'm a Minnesota Vikings fan here, but me in my closet right there by the podcast
Don't
room.
say that.
I got a number 4 Brett Favre jersey because he's my favorite NFL player of all time. So the Packer ever has to be Bart Starr.
Bart Starr, okay.
He's got
not Jerry Kramer. Jerry Kramer, the old lineman.
No, they're all studs, but Bart Starr had 5 NFL Super Bowl titles. So you could say he had 5 NFL titles.
Yeah,
5.
okay. All right. Well, I'll give you 2 more, and then I'll have to call it here. So Philadelphia Phillies.
Boy, without going back a little bit, I'm so sorry for all the people, in the past years. Gosh, that's a tough one. I would have to say, off the top of my head, this probably isn't the right one. Philly fans are very passionate about their Phillies. Mike Schmidt.
Yeah, I was going to say Mike Schmidt. I'm probably going to say Bryce Harper because he seems to be taking over the game these days, and bully for him. So
he's very good.
2 last ones. Now, this is the one I'm going to say the Cincinnati Reds. I'm going to give you a gimme right there.
Johnny Bench.
Johnny Bench, that's a great answer. So here you go. Now, this is one that's going to be, I think I know where you're going to go with it, but I'm going to leave it open. And this will be our final question, and we'll wrap it up. The Houston Astros.
Nolan Ryan.
I knew you were going to say Ryan. I just had a feeling about Nolan Ryan that you're going to say. Mike Scott had 2 no-hitters that one year.
You're comparing Mike Scott to Nolan Ryan?
Well, he had
Nolan
2 no-hitters
in
one game. 7
hitters. Count them, dude. 7 no-hitters.
I'm not going to debate Nolan Ryan. He was awesome. He's
in
great.
The history of baseball, you got to go to the 9th inning to win one game, or you have to start the game with one guy to win the game. I mean, Nolan Ryan's in the top 5.
So someone coming out of the bullpen? Are you talking about somebody coming out of the bullpen? I'm taking Mariano
We'll
Rivera.
go the whole 9 innings, start and finish the game.
Okay. All right.
I mean,
I'm
he's
going to
top
take
five.
Greg Maddux on that one.
I'd say Bob Gibson would be another one.
Yeah.
You're a Cardinal boy, right?
We could go all night, but man, listen, Dave, it's been fun to catch up with you. I'm glad that you guys are safe. I'm glad your wife's doing well. Give us an update on her health real quick before we go.
It was muggy hot in Milwaukee. We had been go for weeks, and we were at the Riley Gaines big event, and we're having lunch. We're with a bunch of people and some people from Oregon, Don Powers and Gordon and some other people, and boy, Judy's got really sick, passed out. And here's what's crazy about this. This is how we have to be as Americans. One of the main speakers at the Riley Gaines Harley event was the senator from Kansas, and his name's slipping my mind right now. We'll put it on a podcast. So I'm going to write him a letter. He's a physician. He's a doctor. He's just stepped off the stage. He saw Judy go down. He was right on the spot to help out. And then another guy is a Vietnamese guy named Chon, I believe is his last name. I think he's running in Virginia. His wife was there, and she was right behind the senator to take care of Judy. And her husband speaking at the convention that night. Those were the two people. And then Riley Gaines came over, and she was, trying to help them out with Judy. We had 4 firemen and police officers there within seconds, and then another 4, then another 4. And they were fabulous. And they got her into an ambulance, and her blood pressure was super low. They were really worried about her. And so this is cool. I know we're going a little long, but there's 2 mobile med units in the United States, both based out of North Carolina, Raleigh. And what was really cool is they sent one to the RNC to be inside the perimeter. There's a huge 6-block perimeter around the Visor Center, and everything is top-notch security. Well, they took Judy to that mobile hospital, which literally has 10 beds, doctors, nurses, and these people are amazing. And they're there for hurricane relief from all the hurricanes on the East Coast. And so they want to make more of these, but this particular mobile hospital happened to be there. That's where they took Judy. She got, fabulous care. And they got her blood pressure back up. They got everything. She was in there about 4.5 hours. And, Judy, she's tougher than nails. But, I think the culmination of just heat exhaustion and traveling without, we weren't eating, really good and stuff. It all caught up to her. But I got to tell you, I'm going to be contacting the people that own the health company that own those. I got all the names of the doctors and nurses. And what a miracle. I mean, because it was like literally 3 blocks in the ambulance to there. And her blood pressure was super low, and they got her all taken care of and got her back to good health. So thanks for asking.
Well, yeah, so I mean, obviously, had seen the pictures on Instagram and just wanted to ask. But David, listen, it's getting dark. It's beautiful out here in Oregon, just so you know. It's been hot a little bit during the day, but man, as soon as that sun goes down, it's just beautiful. Nice breeze. I'm outside on the front porch. God bless America, man. This is what it's all about. This is the American dream.
Hey, do me a favor, would you? When you're over there in Oregon, and in Wisconsin they say Oregon. Said Oregon, but if you want to go by the house and grab the hose and sprinkle everything down, I would appreciate it.
Okay, yeah, we'll go out. I'll take the boys over tomorrow.
Yeah, the front yard, just grab the hose and water the heck out of it. I'd really appreciate it.
That sounds great, man. Well, listen, sounds good, and we'll see you when you're coming back to town. What's next week?
We will be back August 6th. We're heading out of here to Indiana, and we're in Door County, Wisconsin. We're heading to Marion, Indiana, to see missionary friends, and then we're going through Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia, North Carolina. We're going to get to the Billy Graham Museum. We're going to get all the way to Charleston, South Carolina, fly to Texas, and come on home on August 6th.
That's awesome. Well, you be safe. Take care, and we'll be catching up here maybe next week with another. We'll do another live stream and get all of our fans. But I'm losing light, and it's time for us to go, Dave. Have a great night, man.
Hey, dude.
Peace, buddy. Bye.